is that the most important stat is always going to be stamina. So you have, let's say, speed, stamina, you got power, you got guts, and then wit, right? Maybe I should make them smaller. Let me do that. Alright, so it's like this, right? Guts, you basically are gonna need 300, but no more than that. Wits, in general, 400 is fine, but you don't really want less than 400, okay? These are what you're always gonna need, basically, right? Now, the thing is that the most important stat is always going to be stamina, because this is basically your HP. If you don't have enough HP, you can't finish a race, and it means that your speed goes down tremendously because of that, right? Now, the thing with stamina is that it depends on the distance of a race. Basically, the shorter the race, the less stamina you need. So if you're doing sprints, you can get 400 stamina. Honestly, you probably want like 500, to be honest. So let's say 500 stamina. If you do mile, honestly, you can pretty much like increase by 100 for every distance type. Sometimes a little bit more, to be honest. It really depends on the race. But I would say like sprint is definitely the one that's less important. I would say like 700 or 800 for like, let's say this is mile, right? This is sprint. Then I would say for medium, it's going to be like 900. But you're also going to want some gold skill. So I'm going to say plus G, right? So that's going to be medium. And then at the top here, this is going to be long races. And basically with long races, you want 1200. And potentially 2 to 3 gold skill, right? This is long. And the thing is that this part is always going to be the most important one. Because if you don't have enough, you'll just lose, period. So this is always the most valuable stat, the MVS, okay? Now, for the rest, those are like necessary, okay? Now, for the other stats, speed is basically the second most important stat, right? And basically, you kind of always want 1200 speed, except for long, basically, right? The only difference is like long, you can probably, like this is gonna be long, right? And long, you can probably stop at like 900, but that's mostly because stamina is so much more important, okay? But for all the other types of races, you're gonna try to aim for 1200 speed, okay? So you just gotta keep in mind that for long specifically, you can afford less speed just because stamina is so much more important, all right? And then the thing with power is that that's gonna depend. Basically for power, you aim between, I would say like 500 or 600, 400. I would say this goes between 400 and probably like 1200. Okay, 1200 here. This is only for sprint. The reason why is because sprint is such a short race that you want to reach top speed as fast as possible, right? Now for the rest, because this is only for sprint, the rest, this part, this depends, in my opinion, on positioning. Not positioning, on style. There we go. And of course, the shorter the race, the more power you're gonna need. So you're gonna have to calculate, like, if you're doing a long race, 400 speed, 400 power is fine, or 500 power is fine. Now, if you're doing a long race, but you are an encloser, then you're gonna need more power, even more, right? So if you're a long race, an encloser, maybe you aim for 600. If you're mile or a dirt race, and you're an encloser, you might want to go to 900, right, etc, etc. So that's how you do. You get the stamina first, then you get as much speed as you can, and you get enough power that it makes sense for the type of races that you're doing, and the style of your horse. Those are the three most important stats. The guts and wheat, right now, wheat, you absolutely need 400, in my opinion. You cannot do without 400. That's the most important thing, because otherwise you do not activate any skill. Okay? Guts. Guts is like the least important stat at the moment. I'm gonna say poo. Basically, Guts, it's a different kind of stamina that only works for the end of the race. Okay? So getting 300 is pretty good. You don't need more. If you have a bit less, it's fine. But the wheat here is too important. Skill proc. Right there. Alright? So that's how it works. You finish below 350. The reason why you don't want to ignore wheat is because if you look at... There's probably a table somewhere. Let me see. Maybe on Game Torah. Article. Beginner guides. Wheat. Do not talk about wheat here. It was in Discord channel. Did I? Time to find out. No, it doesn't say here. No, I just gave like a small table that kind of explain that gives you like a... No, that's not what I posted. Let me see. Here, maybe? Stats. Oh, maybe here. There it is. Wisdom. Wit, aka Wisdom, affect your skill trigger rates as well as some other things. Aim to have between 300 and 500 Wisdom for any Uma. Any more than that, it starts to fall off too much. You can see a chart of skill proc chance based on your Wisdom here. So look at that. If you have 200 wit, you have 55% chance to activate your skill. If you have 300, that's 70% chance. The reason why people tend to aim for 400 to 450 is because that will give you 80% chance to activate your skill. This is not a threshold, so like if you have 299, you're not stuck at 55%. But those are just like the point that people generally go for, okay? So getting between 300 and 450 is going to be very nice because it gives you more chance to... This is basically crit rate, okay? So getting as much crit rate as possible is pretty good, but above a certain threshold, you're better off focusing on other things, right? So getting 400 to 450 is really good. If you have a bit less than 400, it's not the end of the world. You still have a 70% chance to activate your skill, so it's pretty good, right? But this is definitely something you don't want to ignore, because otherwise you won't activate your skills. Especially if you're doing for team trials, because the team trial, quote-unquote PvP mode, the points that you get them from skill... A lot of them comes from skill activation. Every time a skill activates, you gain points. So that's why people try to get like 400 to 450 wisdom, because it guarantees way more... you're less... The chances of you getting unlucky and activating your skill is going to be diminished, basically, right? That's why you want to make sure that you get enough wheat. So that's how it works. Hope that helps.